Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of The Aftermath. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Dylan, and we got Ethan in the studio.
What are you talking about? It's me, Johnny Roast Beef.
Johnny Roast Beef.
Jimmy 2 times.
It's Jimmy two times.
Hey, my name is Faguli Spagooch. All right.
Paulie.
I thought your name was Alfredo Squingilli.
No, it's Joey.
And we got
Joey Baloney.
We got Tony Rigatoni over here.
Dude,
It's been forever since I've heard those names.
Whoever's last name is Rigatoni, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Same.
If my last name was Rigatoni, I'd name my kid Tony.
So,
Like this is Tonothy Rigatoni, but we call him Tony.
You're really gonna condemn your kid to that life?
For the memes? Yeah, dude.
so
He's gonna kill you in your
for
Good.
let's slow down. So for this episode, we I did not expect this movie at all.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had this movie.
Oh yeah.
We watched an old movie from 1990, if you can believe it.
We had to flip the disc over. This is a two-side.
Yep.
It's like that guy from that song. Now turn this record over. You ain't heard nothing yet. Yeah, we were asked halfway through. It just cut off, and it was like, well, turn the record over.
But in movie form.
Yeah, I was like, what is this? That doesn't have. That's not a thing. And then it was a thing. Turns out that's a thing.
Yeah.
It used to be a thing more often than it actually is. Because before Blu-ray was a thing. Oh, by the way, Goodfellas is the name of the movie. Once upon a time.
I'm sure Johnny Baloney and John Roast Beef gave it away.
Before Blu-ray was a thing and could hold more data on one disc, like obviously CDs was the predecessor to all of it, and it can only fit like a few megabytes on it. And then as they were getting better and better, then DVDs came out, and then we could put whole movies on DVDs. And then, of course, movies got so big or had so many extra features where they would have like two sides on it because they couldn't fit all the shit on it.
That reminds me of that one
DVDs. Sorry.
They did in Metal Gear Solid 4, where like you're in Act 4, like about to proceed into Shadow Moses a bit further.
Yeah.
And then Otacon just like interrupts you, like, okay, I know it's a hassle, but we got to change the disc. You see the disc labeled 2? And Snake's just like, no. And Otacon's like, oh, wait, yeah, we're on PlayStation 3.
Really?
Yeah, it's a dual-layered Blu-ray disc.
It is?
Yeah.
So
you had to
turn it over.
Flip over.
No.
Okay.
No, it was just on the disc. Everything.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the guy was like, "We have to get the second disc." And
Like, no, we don't.
I didn't realize
Get with the
that.
times.
Yeah.
you
What a thing of the
fucking nerd.
past.
Yeah.
You can develop a giant-ass mech that can fire a nuke from anywhere on the planet, but you can't comprehend
I
a
can't fit
dual-layered
one
disc.
Right. So anyways, this movie was basically 2.5 hours, as we were talking about.
It felt like an
initially.
eternity, especially
Unintentionally, mind
the
you.
intermission was insane. Dude. Oh my
I
god!
made sure to check the back. Every movie I decide to pick out just to make sure it's not too long.
It's not 3 hours. Yeah,
I know.
Like,
I
my
know.
goodness.
I know.
I know.
We started not to give away the time. We started at like 10 o'clock, guys.
I know.
Look at the time.
Shut your fucking mouth.
Yikes.
Reason I check is because I know we usually end up recording late, and I don't want to keep everybody up super late.
Right.
And on the back of the case, it says an hour and 45. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
times two.
That's fine.
Times two.
Nowhere did it say 2.5 hours.
So, anyways,
Amazing.
I thought this was. I think I'm getting this movie confused with a different movie.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that like Goodfellas was like a comedy movie of some kind.
I mean, it was definitely funny.
There was
There was some funny moments, but it was not a comedy.
Nah.
That was a drama.
Well, yeah, I'm about to say it was a
some
comedy
dramatic.
apart from the first scene where a guy's getting knifed in the face. But like, yeah, neither here nor there.
Yeah.
The very first scene in the movie, it's like,
He's getting knifed in the gut.
sometimes killing is a problem, and a dude just starts plunging a knife in like his chest and throat, and we're like, oh. Well, he's dead.
Bruh.
He's like, oh, the bastard's still alive. He's still moving. And starts stabbing him. And I was like, oh, well,
Yeah.
he's not anymore.
This is a movie initially set back at the beginning of our main character, Henry's life in like the 1950s.
Dude, Henry was a
And-
Chad. I mean, except for like the last 5 years of his life.
Yeah.
And bruh,
He kind of turned bitch.
I have
about slopes and slipperiness.
yeah.
And drugs.
Yeah.
Congratulate drugs
I
for winning
have-
the war on drugs.
I have seen like pretty good depictions of like each one of these like sections in history.
Mm-hmm.
And even my parents lived through like some of these like years in history. It's not that long ago. I mean, it feels like it. But to like look back at this and say like, oh, he was like give or take 13, like 11 to 13 in like the 50s. So he was born in the 40s, and he like grows up to be
a gangster.
Yeah, a crime boss.
Right. He grows up to potentially be, what would it be? Like, by the time it hits the 80s, he could be like in his 30s or 40s. And it's like, man, that guy lived through like the 50s to the 80s, which feels like very different times.
Well, he was in witness protection at the late 80s is what the end of the film said.
I know, yeah.
So he also lived to the 90s, I'm guessing.
Well, yeah, he lived even further past that. I'm just talking about like being born in like the 40s and seeing like how drastically different of a time that is as opposed to the 80s, which feels like the decade of excess. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. The scale of progression is going through the fucking roof.
Like it even feels like obviously the world was a different place in 2000 as opposed to now in 2023.
Yeah, dude, I look back on 2000 fondly, and I was young.
but what I'm saying is like things were drastically different from 20 to 2023. Like as far as like technology and all that kind of stuff, but like the vibe of it doesn't feel as crazy as like the 50s to like the 70s or 80s. You know what I mean?
This may be the third to half dozenth time I've said this on the podcast, and I remember because one of our first episodes was The Breakfast Club, and I said it in one of our first episodes, which is that to all my audience that's only 15 years older than me, this is going to sound super cringe, and I know that the Zoomers that are younger than me they're gonna be saying this too, and I'm gonna be like, God, it's so cringe. But like, I really do wish that I was growing up in like school in the like in high school in the 90s, watching Breakfast Club, which was like high school in 80s, 90s or whatever it was. 80s, it's like, man, my high school life was boring in comparison to that. Now I know that's not what everyone's was like, but still, like the lockers and the way everything was, like, by the time we got there, those cameras everywhere, no one could do hood rat shit.
They've
like
been romanticized a bit.
It was definitely romanticized, but like still, just looking back on the actual stories of it too, talking to people and family that were in high school, then
Saved by the
Bell. It sounds
I fucking love Saved by the Bell.
It sounds way more fun than high school was for everybody in my age group. And now knowing kids that are in that age group, I'm like, yeah, no, your high school experience is boring because they're watched by everything now. They monitor everything's on the phone now. Literally, so I was like, even though it's going to be cringe to all the people who are just a little bit older than me, like, man, I really wish I was in school in the 80s or 90s. Like, it would have been way cooler than whenever I was in high school. And I know that the Zoomers are going to be like, man, I wish I was in high school in 2015. And I'm like, stop. Yeah, exactly. Well, but so like, I know that it's only getting worse, but so. But like, every time I see, and this is like a similar thing, only a little bit farther back, I guess, but like, looking at it and look at them in their peak, like, I wish I was a crime boss in the 60s.
Right.
Dude, because they're talking about it in the film, which, of course, if you don't know anything about it, it's basically based on a true story, but it's what's the word I'm looking for? It has creative, what's the word I'm looking for? Freedom. But it's based on a true story of these people in the crime. So, like, the heist of the airport or whatever is a real heist. I did look it up. And basically, it's about these people getting into crime, and he's like in his 20s, but he's, being this crime boss, all the money he could want. But when they're describing it, they're talking about how like we would just have these people in on it, we would pay them off, we would steal things because again, there's no like security cameras anywhere because they don't exist at the time. Right. So they're able to just steal things and carry out hits, and no one can catch them because it's just like impossible. By the time the 80s came around, they were getting caught because there's fingerprinting and stuff now. But like, it's just insane to think that there was that time, not very long before I was born, that people could just do whatever they want, and stealing was super easy because you couldn't get caught.
Right.
The hard thing too is like, that's the crazy thing of the progression of the timeline of this film is like him growing up like being a wise guy like in the 50s or whatever, or like kind of being
whenever he's super young and he's
and he's like
parking people's cattle.
Right. And it's like,
roll credits.
That was such a different time. even from the end of the movie in the 80s where he was like, you can't get away with anything anymore. Like that's just that used to be
Doesn't happen.
I also like because I didn't understand quite what it was. I had to look this term up too. They were talking about who's a made man and who isn't.
Oh yeah, made man.
And
yeah,
so
it's a big term.
I was like looking into it and like why, who was it? The guy who played one of the Wet Bandits?
Oh yeah,
Pesci.
Yeah, Joe Pesci,
Pesci's character. I was wondering
His
why.
name is Tommy.
Yeah, okay, I thought it was Tommy, but there's like 4 Tommies and 3 Paulies. So it's literally made in the freaking film as a joke. But
Paulies and Peters.
Yeah,
That's what they
Pete's.
said.
Yeah.
All married
This
to
is this is
Maurice.
Petey. No, wait, no, it's Paulie. Sorry, I get those mixed up. But like, but yeah, it's his character is killed by the mafia whenever he's about to become a made man, and I was like, why'd they kill him again? Oh yeah, because he killed a made man, and to be a made man, the mafia has to accept you, and you have to be an actual like Italian heritage completely.
Right.
So none of them, no matter how much they're helping the mafia, none of them can actually be in the mafia because they're not Italian.
Right.
And so I was like, oh, okay, like looking it up, it makes sense now because I was like, why'd that dude just get killed by the mafia? Isn't he like? Aren't they all working
He
together
stepped out
here?
of line.
Because he stepped out of line and killed a made man when he
Broke the
wasn't one.
rules.
Yep. So I was like, the mafia is still strong.
Yeah. They still got your book.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I miss the mafia.
What? Wow.
I remember those guys.
The good old days of the mafia.
Right.
It just the crazy thing was like again like I was saying, just the progression of time to this film. You get to see every decade of history, and also like
My goodness, there's so much that happens. It's kind of hard to keep up because there's so many Paulies. There's so many characters.
Not really. There's a lot of characters, but yes, you're right. They do. Some have a couple of names that copy over each other, but we do have like a main cast. Of
We do, but I found them hard to keep
You're right.
up with,
Right.
is what I was saying.
Paul Cicero is the main guy. He's the guy who at the beginning doesn't say a whole lot of words, and he doesn't like a lot of conferences, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He's the one who goes by Paulie.
Yeah,
That's the guy.
Big fella.
But Henry's the main character. And
Henry's
that's the one
the main
that matters.
character.
But it's still, at one point, Henry has his wife Karen, and they have kids. But then he's going and boinking this chick, and he gets her an apartment across the street, which his wife knows that he got her the apartment because he tells her that he did. So it's like she knows about this, but that's his side chick, and that becomes drama. So I was like, wait. So this is his side chick? Why?
Yeah.
What's Karen? Like, it felt like that part progressed kind of quickly, and I was confused.
But it also
But like
that
tells a
feels-
lot about like his life again. But it was just
It also feels so of the time, because I feel like I even heard a lot of stories of like my friends' grandparents or my friends' parents, or like even like we have a storied history with our grandfather that we found
Yeah.
of like, back in those days, like again, you can get married to somebody and have kids with them, but at the same time, like you can go like sleep around for a while, because like to be honest, ain't nobody gonna really find you or like be able to trace you down. Like,
even if they do find you, it's just the back at the time, it was,
right.
nobody cared.
Yeah, well, not only that is like again, it was kind of like it was
Not that
more-
nobody cared, I guess, but that was just
It was
like,
more beneficial just to stay married in some regard.
yeah, I mean, like
you gotta
socially
keep up heirs.
acceptable and stuff.
Promiscuity. What's that?
Right.
Right.
And so it felt very much like that as the movie goes on, and she finds out about this side chick. All of a sudden,
Goes ballistic.
goes crazy. Which again,
I thought was hilarious though.
he
She's
he
pointing
found
a gun
himself
to
a
him.
woman.
If I was watching this is a random thing that I thought of, that like if I was watching the movie, I'd be like, oh no, she's pointing a gun at him. But like now that I own a revolver,
Oh yeah,
and I know how little it takes when the hammer's back, I'm like, dude, the whole time I was watching the scene, I was like, she's
Yeah.
gonna accidentally shoot him. It takes
Yeah.
you can breathe on the trigger when the hammer's back, and it will fire.
yeah. Well, but
Like-
that maybe that's a difference between like a modern weapon and like a '60s revolver.
Well, but even still, like the whole point
Yeah.
is if you pull the hammer back, because it takes less trigger pull to fire, so you don't
Right,
pull
right.
the one way or the other. So you pull it back that way you don't have to exert that. Now again, there's some of them maybe back then it's also different or are not double action, so you have
Yeah.
to pull the hammer every time. But even still, when the hammer's back, it takes no trigger weight. So I was watching and I was like, this dude's gonna get shot. How did this movie get to this point? And he didn't.
You can ready and you can aim, but the fire is going to sneak up on you.
100%. It'll,
Right.
Somebody could be like, boo. And even though I saw them next to me, that gun's going to go off. like, yeah, exactly. Like, so I was watching the scene. I was like, wow, this guy dies here. What happens next? That's not how the movie ends, is it? And of course, he didn't. But I was like, I was surprised by that one. And then, of course, he goes ballistic and points the gun. And is like, how does it feel? How does it feel?
So they have like our like core cast members, like we said, like there's the big guy, Paulie, and then there's Tommy, played by Joe Pesci, our main character Henry, and then Robert De Niro plays a guy named James Conway, but he goes by Jimmy. And that's like the main. There is like an extended cast of other characters like that you really kind of fall in love with in the movie, and like I liked the whole like family aspect of like this kind of like big group of characters that were all
Everybody knows everybody.
yeah. And then our boy Tommy, like later down the line, man, he like
Cannot control his
bruh,
temper.
like a screw goes loose in him.
Tommy
And
was always a screw loose, but he seems to lost.
Oh,
He didn't.
yeah.
It's not loose anymore. It's just gone.
he lost it.
Like now he's just shooting people. Like, hey, what's it matter if I kill somebody? They're gonna
Yeah.
die. It's fine. What?
No
This
big
isn't my first.
deal.
Isn't my first time digging a hole. My first hole dug. And he
Yeah.
like
Where
walks
do we
over
keep
there.
the shovels?
He's shooting people for literally the stupidest cross.
And it all
For things that would have been funny at the beginning of the movie to him, right? Whenever he's like, what's funny about me? And then they all laugh together, right? That was the best. You're right. That was the best scene in the movie for sure. He's like, I really thought you're gonna crack under questioning. You are right. And like,
and the crazy thing is like, I feel like some of the best sarcasm and the best jokes sometimes are birthed out of a little bit of truth. And that feels like it as well. I think he was like joking and kind of sarcastic, but I think Joe Pesci plays off that pretty well of like he's not quote unquote hurt by it, but like the reason why he's able to act so well and like play that kind of sarcastic, like I almost got you, is because like he really believed it, but was like able to kind of keep a facade up. But then like later in the movie, he's not willing to.
He's not willing to rein it back
Nah,
in
nah,
and be.
nah.
So
Especially
everyone's
not-
like, "Are you gonna take that? Are you gonna let him treat like that?" He shoots him. He's like, "Dude, I was joking. I didn't mean you like." Because like again, early on in the film, it feels like this kid that called him Spider, I think.
Yeah, Spider was the kid's name.
He's getting the drinks, right? So he walks up to him after being shot in the foot from a previous scene where the same thing happens, basically.
Yeah.
He's getting them the drinks, and Tommy's roasting them, and he's like, go F yourself, all right, Tommy, and walks away, and it like gets silent. Everyone's like, you know what? Here, pulls out a wad of cash. Pulls out a wad, dude. Exactly. He stares the entire time in that scene, but this other guy pulls out a wad of cash, drops the table, and he's like, "That's for you. You got a set of balls acting like that. Are you gonna take that?" And this would have been really funny in the other, like the previous half of the movie, because everyone would have been like, "You know what? You're all right, kid. You're good," and like he would have gone up. But instead, the dude just pulls a semi-automatic gun. He only uses revolvers, so the semi-automatic really stuck out, and shoots him like 9 times. And everyone's like, "Dude, what the hell?"
and then I love how his response was, Henry goes over and is like, "Hey, he's dead." And then of course he's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't miss. I'm sorry, I'm a crack shot."
He's like, "Well, I'm a good shot. What do you think?"
Yeah, what do you expect? And everyone's like, "Dude, what is your problem, dude?"
Yeah,
and then I love the reaction as well, because it's not only like, "What is your problem, dude?" It's like, "Man, why you got to go off like way to ruin the card game, dude?" Like
everyone's like, "Really? The card game's done now. There's blood everywhere."
Because now it's my job as like your brother, as like your part of your crew to like I'm gonna help you out now. Like now you freaking screwed us all up.
I gotta leave the drinks. And
you're gonna dig the hole, and he's like, "Well, I don't care about digging no freaking hole. I'll go. I'm not my first time digging a hole," and it's like, bruh, you guys aren't even like fully comprehending what you guys just did.
Well, because it doesn't matter, and that's
exactly.
Which the narrator for the film, which changes, I think that's kind of cool too.
Oh yeah.
The narrator of the film is like, like whacking people wasn't the big deal, but everyone was pissed because like it was super unnecessary. Right?
Yeah,
Like he even
exactly.
says it like we whack people all the time carrying out hits. That's the thing. But like I never had to dig a hole until we dug that guy. Like he mentions that. But like again, Henry says that he's never had to whack somebody before until the very end. That's how he knew that he was about to get whacked. And I was like, it's really funny that after all this, he's like the person who has like the best, in a way, it's just portrayed in the movie to have the best like moral compass.
Yeah.
In that early on, someone gets shot in the hand and he bandages him up, and Paulie's like, "What are you doing? You're wasting good aprons on this guy."
Yeah.
And so it's like he's portrayed as a guy who's, no matter how much of a criminal he is, he's still like, I'm not comfortable killing people though. Like if it happens over there, it's fine, but like I'm not gonna kill him.
And it's also kind of portrayed too that he's like a quiet character. Like he's not one that like to. Henry's not the one to jump in and like and say anything.
Doesn't
like,
run his mouth.
Right, like our boy Tommy does.
Yeah. Tommy's just every aspect of him is all gas, no brakes.
You're right. You're right.
So,
but I think that also plays into that kind of characteristic you're talking about. Is like he knows like his place in a way.
mm-hmm.
So I mean, he's able to do a job and be assertive when he needs to be. But like that's not his like character trait. His character trait is kind of to be like.
I like early on the introduction of Henry and Tommy though, where he's like, "This is Tommy. You're gonna be working with him." And he's like, "Oh yeah, all right, it's good. Can't wait to work together." And they're like kids, and of course you see him later, and they're like, they're boys all the way up until he dies.
Right.
It was a fantastic. I mean, there was just so much happened that I don't really know where to start, but it was a fantastic movie. It was hilarious.
I think so far we did, but like
Well, I guess what I mean is like, I don't have any like notes and criticisms. I was just watching it, like roasting the name. Dude, again, seriously. Roast beef, Johnny roast beef. Yeah. Like, you're killing me here. But yeah, I didn't and didn't really write anything down like that. I did think it was interesting that it was like, what is it, like 16:9? like it was not. It wasn't all the way.
It doesn't quite fit the whole screen.
Yeah, I think that he has like a different. I think he's a low resolution version.
Mm-hmm.
So on our
it's
TV,
just a regular DVD.
I think on our TV, not only is it have like the widescreen bars on the top, but it also doesn't fully fit the frame on the left and right. So it was just this big black border around the whole movie.
It felt like I was watching it on one of those little
picture frame.
On a picture, I was thinking one of those little, what are they called? The little nuclear TVs, the big boxes.
Yeah.
Good old CRT.
Yeah, there you go. The ones that are like definitely dangerous.
Yeah.
That hum to you. They whisper in your ear when you're too close to them.
It's an abbreviation for crate, because that's how they were shaped.
Noted.
But
Not really.
as I was saying before, there's this, like, it feels like this ragtag band of family in this whole film until like one of them kind of goes off. Our boy Tommy, and he because it's after
Tommy Salami.
They like after they go through like that big heist they went to, and like people are kind of making some pretty bad decisions with their money.
Everybody that made a bad decision with their money, that dude carried a hit out on and killed them all.
Yeah.
Every one of them. Dude, one dude bought a coupe that was pink, and he was like, "I love that car." And he was like, "I told you not to go crazy with the money. We're gonna get caught." And he hits him, hits the dude who bought the big fur coat. He kills everybody that was in it.
Right.
And it's absolutely nuts. I also like at one point they go to jail, but because they're affiliated with the mafia and they're so rich and so influential that the jail they go to is just a 2-bedroom flat.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And they're like cooking and smuggling their own food. They got their own place. The cops come in and are like, yeah, whatever. At one point earlier than that, Karen mentions that the cops come over with search warrants all the time, but it's just them saying that they want another bribe. So even if whether they find something or not, they're like, "Hey, just tell your husband that we want more money." So she's watching TV and offering them coffee while they're searching her house.
Yeah, right.
I was like, "This is insane to think that this dude's like 22 now, and he's like just
or like in his early 30s at that point." Just kind of.
I know. Well, at one point it mentioned whenever he like first met her that he was saying I'm a 21-year-old guy and he's got all this money. So that's why I was guessing by then. This was before they had their first kid, but still, like it's insane to think that he's in his early 20s and he's just has that kind of money, and he's exactly. He's walking into a place and putting rolls of $1,000 in people's pockets. Like, yeah, thanks for holding the door for me. He's literally being the guy who he was looking up to early in the movie,
right?
Which is insane.
Crazy.
That is crazy. The seamless progression of this film through like I love how we start off at that kind of at the scene where that really draws you in of like the holy shit, we're about to get deep in this right now. And then we get like the start of like his life, and then of course the culmination.
Until again, like
to
this
that
sort of
first
like
part.
halfway point when you see what was at the beginning. I always like when films do that.
I think the movie just kept trucking along, and I think it did a good job of like bridging those gaps and telling the full story, and I love that.
Like starting a book from the end, except in this case it would be the middle.
Yeah.
And I know actually I've read books that do that same thing. Like where like it starts off,
out of a 30-chapter book, you start off on chapter 20, and then it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to
in a way,
right.
It kind of starts you off like
Eventually you'll get to
it'll mention like this guy walked into a bar, and it's like this strange thing, and he's like, let me tell you a story, and then chapter 2 is the story of him. So then halfway through the book, it he's like, and
It
now
catches up,
and
yeah.
now we're here, sort of. It's like that, except it's not really halfway through. I guess the book that I'm talking about is Patrick Rothfuss is The Name of the Wind. So basically,
okay,
the
right,
three
right.
it's supposed to be a 3-book series. And it starts off with him in an inn, and then he basically is recounting the tale of a story. And every once in a while, it like takes a break, and he's like, "Well, I'm gonna give you another drink," and then like something happens, and he remembers.
Wow,
So it's
yeah.
like I thought it was really good back and forth of the story.
Yeah,
where
That's kind of cool.
yeah, I thought it's really good. Yeah,
I'll tell you what the name of the wind is.
What's that?
Donnie.
Whoosh.
Oh,
Whoosh.
I thought the name of the
I thought it
wind
was.
yeah.
No. I really enjoyed this movie more than I thought I would,
Yeah.
and I know I've said that a handful of times about a handful of movies. But this,
I'm noticing a theme here.
once I like got a little bit into the movie, and I was like, this is gonna be like a drama about like mafia, like men.
This is the first like old school gangster type movie we've watched on the podcast.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna get so much flack from my dad because it wasn't The Godfather.
Oh my god, dude. I
That
forgot
one's-
about that.
That one's gonna be a while.
Oh yeah?
I still want to watch The Godfather. I mean,
But
Because
that's-
they're lengthy movies.
Yeah, I think each 3 movies are like 3 hours long, right?
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
So that's a
yeah. Oh yeah, they're long.
those lines.
Chase said that he was like, "You guys can keep that one. I won't be on that episode because I fell asleep last time I watched."
It's consistent that he just cannot stay awake. He does the same thing with The Matrix too.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Can't stay awake for that one. Which
Hey, De Niro was in that one too, wasn't he? He
The
was
Matrix?
No.
Oh, The Godfather?
Godfather. Yeah, wasn't he?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure
I
Robert.
don't remember.
I'm pretty sure Robert De Niro was. Maybe not, but I could have sworn he's played in another one of those kind of movies. You know what I mean?
I mean, give it a look. He's the quintessential mafia man. Typecast for that shit all the time.
I liked how as well you can see, even though they have the same character, they're able to make him look older throughout the movie, but also whenever he starts getting into his drug benders,
Oh,
they do a
boy.
great job making him look diaphoretic all the
Yeah.
time and pale,
Disheveled.
and his eyes are always bloodshot. They make him look like he's on drugs the whole time, and of course, at one point, the doctor notices that and gives him 10 milligrams of Valium and is like, "You can drive home now." And I was like, a different time.
Wow.
Because I was given less than that for my wisdom teeth removal, which, by the way, didn't work. But still, I was given less than that for my wisdom teeth removal, and they were like, "Yeah, by the way, someone's got to take you home," and it was less than 10 milligrams that I was given. So,
Jeez.
which of course, that's probably why it didn't do jack for me, and I was just awake the entire time.
Ugh.
It wasn't bad. Wisdom teeth removal, not that bad, but it was definitely. I thought it was going to be like
This is
high.
one of the ways it could have gone.
High or cozy or out of it. Nope, I was still awake, high strung. None of it. I didn't feel. I felt like I didn't take anything. Like it didn't even kick in at all. So I was
It's
like,
almost worse than.
but again, I'll be honest, it was great because I was numbed up just fine. So I was
Yeah.
just like basically just helping the doctor out, where he was like, "All right, like turn your head this way" or what have you. It wasn't a big deal, but at the same time, it was supposed to calm me down, and it just didn't do anything like that.
Yeah.
Hey, why did a chicken say when he crossed the road? Like really trying to take my teeth out. But yeah, the only thing is like he does cocaine, which like supposed to dilate your pupils, I think, and his still stay constricted. But they still did a great job. His pupils look constantly constricted, and like you could see so much color in his bloodshot eyes. They did a great job with all that. It was just
Surprised
insane.
you were able to remain that coherent during your wisdom teeth removal.
Like,
You just did cocaine too? Wow. Damn.
oh yeah, I did. Well, the cocaine. So I think why the benzo didn't work. Actually, yeah, I did a line of coke, and I was like, why did the Valium not work?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh man.
So it says that De Niro was in Godfather Part 2.
Okay.
Frick Part 1 though. Huh? Yeah, I actually do want to watch The Godfather though, but like I don't.
Yeah.
It's a long.
We'll get around to that one eventually.
It's a long. What is The Godfather based on? Another true story like this? Like, what's it? Is it just
Uh,
a made up thing for the mafia? Like,
May have been true events.
What's the Godfather, like the main actor's name? He also played in Scent of a Woman. I can't remember his name.
Me neither.
Oh, come on. Come on.
I don't
I
remember.
thought you were supposed to. Never mind.
Don't you fucking
It's
dare.
too late. I already said it in my mind. President movie expert.
If I've said it once, I've said it.
100 times.
Yeah.
Al Pacino.
For the umpteenth time.
Dude, Pacino.
Yeah, the Pacino himself.
Well,
he's the guy. He's the god. I don't think he's the Godfather, but he's the
No.
he's the face of the Godfather.
Pistachio.
Albert Pistachio.
Almond.
Oh,
Almond Pistachio. I love
Yeah.
that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, I loved the. I feel like the realism in the marriage between him and his wife.
Oh God.
Of like that feels like such an appropriate marriage of that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know that's not a good thing to say.
Everything was shit.
Everything
then.
was shit back then, and like it was like I just feel like men could just trash things and like people would just scream and like that. That was just
Turn a blind eye. People still do that.
that's what I'm saying. It's
I
like,
don't know if that's the
changed.
time. People still trash their place and shout at each other. It's just
You're right.
healthy relationships don't
You're right.
exist.
I don't do that. I don't trash my nice things, but he would get in a fit of rage.
He's also
and,
rich.
like,
He's rich
I
as
think
ball.
I'm not rich, but I think I'm well off enough that I can buy myself new things if I smash it. But I still don't do it out of principle because I'm like I don't want to do that. But anyways, the point that I'm making is like the more so in the aspect of her not wanting to, or her not leaving because not only does she probably still actually love him in some weird kooky way, but it's also the fact that like to kind of keep up heirs as well. Like once you got married, like you just kind of stayed married. That was the way it was, and
the way God intended it.
But even until I think that at the end of the movie in the little text edition, it says that they split up in '89.
Mm-hmm. After 25
Yeah,
years.
after everything they went through, they split up when they were in witness protection, which is probably because they were only together because they were rich and they could do all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So whenever it got to the point where they're stuck in this house and they can't do anything, they have no people that are with them anymore. It probably was too much and they split up. I mean, obviously, I don't know.
Probably that, and also it was a shared trauma, like the shared bonding of like going through something like that together. It kind of keeps people together, but the second you're out of that,
in this case,
what I'm saying is that the reason why they were able to stick through all the hard times is because they had each other during the hard times, and they were able to bond over that in a way. But the second they were taken out of the hard times and put into good times, and all of a sudden now they just had to like each other based on like the day-to-day life. They're like, oh, you're actually, I don't like you. I don't love you like that anymore.
I don't actually care about you anymore. Right. I mean, it's just we made it this far.
Because we're not in life-threatening danger. We're also like not, having to like basically kill ourselves to survive, and like we're not looking over our shoulders, and like all that stuff. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
crazy.
What would you? What are the 3 words that you would say for this film?
You first. Yeah.
Let's see. Let me see.
The problem is so much happened in the movie that I feel like Johnny roast beef is just fine,
Yeah.
Like that's there we go. But like or Jimmy 2 times, I'm gonna go get the papers.
I was gonna say
his one line. I thought it was so great.
Just to prove his namesake.
Yeah.
I think
they said everything 2 times.
I'm gonna say wise guy downfall. I think wise guy's all one word.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say good fella time.
I think also
there's a space. No, Goodfellas not one word in this case.
but the title of the movie is one word. Goodfella is all one word. I was gonna say Goodfella gone bad.
Bad fellas only.
Bad fellas only. Wow.
Oh man.
Egg noodles and ketchup.
Egg noodles and ketchup.
Wow. How
egg
apt.
noodles is one word.
Oof.
Egg noodles with ketchup.
It says that the F-bomb was dropped. Oh,
and then everybody died.
You read it?
I can't see that.
Okay, don't.
I can't see that far.
It says the F-bomb was dropped a certain amount of times during the film. An average of twice per minute. About half of them are by Tommy DeVito, played by Joe Pesci.
Of course.
After Pesci's mom saw the film, she said she liked it, but asked if he if he had sweared so much.
If he
Or
had to
ask him-
swear.
Yeah, if he had to swear so much.
You motherfucker, you.
Do you want to guess what the number is of F-bombs in this film alone?
Okay, wait, 2 times per minute, and it was 2.5 hours long. So
And about half of them were about this total number I'm about to tell you. Half of them was Joe Pesci alone.
Oh, I mean, then his is upwards of. Well, wait. Oh no, never mind. If it was 2 times per minute, then yeah, his is upwards of 300 times. He must have said, or 250 is my final answer.
What you want to lock in?
I said the final answer is 250.
250.
I'm going lower because
Okay.
I think I should. But
Price is Right rules. Yeah,
Yeah,
whoever
exactly.
goes over.
I'm going lower because I think 250 is it. But my initial estimate was 300.
I'm gonna say under 100.
Under 100.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's-
Well,
that's false.
here we go.
His is again. His has to be upwards of 300, but I'm guessing 250.
Well,
the first guess
you
was
were
right.
No. Yeah,
Oh.
the first guess. Yeah, first guess right. The total number of F-bombs was 296. And almost 150
Dang.
were Joe Pesci alone. So
Yep, there we go. So 300 of them. 300
F-bombs.
300 of them. I was really close too. At 300, it was 296 total. I'm pretty salty.
I was talking to my parents about this. My dad feels the same way. It's like he was telling me earlier today. I was talking to him. It was like the first time we listened to your podcast. It's like, damn,
He swears a lot.
He wasn't
They
even
just
he
realized?
wasn't even in the Navy.
Your dad thinking of your foul mouth. I know your parents listened. Hello.
Hey, Mom.
Hey, Dylan's mom, watch the About Nothing podcast where we talk about the criminal things he did growing up.
No.
No. It's too late. That's on the internet now.
No.
If everyone could see
They
it,
will
she could
never
see it.
hear about this episode.
But the problem is
That's
it's,
already
It's
out.
on the. It's, not only that, it's also on the Aftermath feed. So if they follow
that's what
the
I'm saying,
Aftermath
yeah.
podcast, they will.
It's too late
Anyway,
for
it doesn't
them.
matter.
Oh, they
The
will.
another
Dylan's
thing
parents, we love you. Listen to the podcast.
Shut your mouth.
No.
It says that horses' heads were left in Ray Liotta's dressing room by both co-stars Robert De Niro and Frank Sinatra's daughter
God.
Nancy, as a Godfather homage and welcome to the world of mafia films.
Ooh.
That's scary.
They just got real horses' heads and we're like, big knee slapper that one was. Real funny. To get the blood off your sheets now. What?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Hopefully they were toy horses' heads.
Nah.
Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it'd be cooler if it wasn't. If you guys are gonna leave a horse head in my bed, it better be a real one.
Yeah.
I want ethically sourced horse head.
Yeah,
On my bed.
right.
None of that stuffed shit. Oh man.
It says when they pitched the title of his book Wise Guy to that Goodfellas was based on, his publisher suggested that he changed it as they had never heard the term before at that point,
Really?
and it was not widely known. Yeah.
But Goodfellas? I'm sorry, Wise Guys is a more common known.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that at the time in 1990, I don't think the term wise guy, like I don't think the appropriate term for like a mafia, or like, I guess like was a
It explains it in the film.
Right,
still.
yeah.
Always heard wise guy from the Stooges.
Yeah.
Oh,
God
so
knows
you're a
they-
wise guy, eh?
Yeah. Why you oughta
Well, yeah, you order.
let me at him.
All the good old jokes that were in popular media the entire time I was growing. It's still unpopular, honestly. People still say that crap.
Oh yeah, we had a couple of VHS tapes of the Stooges I used to watch all the time.
Dude, VHS tapes.
And before they got Curly, and it was Shemp was the third Stooge.
Shemp?
Yes, Shemp. Motherfucker was the biggest drunkard you ever did see.
Dude, Shemp's my kind of guy.
Wow, this is so interesting. So the dinner scene with Tommy's mom after they took the maid man or whatever, and he's in the trunk. At the dinner scene with Tommy's mother is largely improvised, including Tommy asking if he could borrow the butcher's knife.
I thought it was so funny. Can I borrow this?
Yeah,
Can I borrow this?
and
I
the-
didn't
I'll
need
bring
it.
it back. I promise.
And the whole paw/hoof debate was all he couldn't think of the word. He just
a paw or a hoof.
right.
It's a
No,
hoof,
he was like, it's a paw.
amazing.
What do you call the paw? The thing, whatever. And of course, Robert De Niro goes,
No.
hoof.
No, it was his mom who said it's a
Yeah,
hoof, and
yeah,
everyone's
right.
like, yeah, it's a hoof. He's like, oh yeah, hoof. Either way, what's the problem? I just need to cut it out real quick. That's
Right.
funny. That's a good one, I've improvised. My favorite, I think I might have mentioned this on the podcast actually already, but my favorite improvised line is the character who plays Draco Malfoy in Harry Potter. His improvised line is he said, "Where have you guys been?" to one of his friends, Crabbe or Goyle, I forgot which one. And Harry playing Crabbe is like, "Oh, I was reading," and he stops. And apparently the guy at the time, he's like, 13 or something,
Right,
or like
right. I think I remember
he forgot his line,
this.
and he looks over and says, "I didn't know you could read." And I'll be honest, he says it so in character
Yeah.
So
that it's
good.
something he would say. But I'm like, I didn't know until like, I don't know, pretty recently. I feel like that was an improvised line. I thought that's like my favorite one. I didn't know you could read.
Like, here we go. Ready? Paulie's razor blade garlic slicing isn't actually very practical. It says that it actually tends to brown too quickly unless you put it in lukewarm oil. It's usually easier to mash it with a fork. Still, certain Italian cookbooks suggest that you slice the cloves of garlic Goodfellas thin, in quotation marks, and cook them low and slow.
I'm glad they clarified.
Right.
Yeah, like
can
everyone's
only
like,
imagine
before
yeah,
you
how
think that
many
it actually
people
melts
decided
like
to
that,
try
it doesn't.
Nah, it doesn't. I mean, if you do it right, it probably could, but
Right.
It just browns quicker because it doesn't
Right.
melt. Garlic
it
doesn't
also
melt.
says. Do you
Not
want
like
to? It says. Do you want to guess the body count for this film?
Oh, jeez.
627. I put zero thought into that. I don't know. I mean,
It actually says for a film renowned for violence.
it's only like 3.
Goodfellas has a relatively low body count of.
I'm going to say 6 or 7.
Okay.
So it's not 600. Fine, I'll say 12.
Okay, if we're going by Price is Right rules, Dylan
I
got it
think
because
Dylan got it.
it's 10.
Ah,
wow.
Yeah.
Actually, it was closer than I thought. I thought it was going to be like 4. Like, I
Yeah,
legitimately
right,
thought it was going to be lower. Like, I can only think
Yeah.
of like 2 people that died on
Yeah.
screen.
Right.
Thinking about it now, though, no, yeah, I get the other people's corpses that are shown. I want to look up the doesthedogdie.com for this and see what's on there.
There are a couple
Does the
dogs.
dog die?
Yeah.
Goodfellas. I usually look this up before the podcast.
Joe
You get to see what
Pesci.
happens.
Joe Pesci does threaten to eat a Pomeranian.
I'm gonna eat this dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does a cat
I'm gonna
die?
eat this
No.
dog.
Does a dog die? No. Does an animal die besides a dog, cat, or horse? No. There's a lot of no's on here. What happens? Is a child abused? Yeah. Yeah. A child is abused. Is there domestic violence?
Oh, plenty.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, plenty.
There is very intense
Rampant.
domestic scene involving a gun, but no one's shot. Yeah, that's the. There were 19 yeses and 0 nos to that one. There's definitely domestic violence.
Yeah.
Is someone gaslight? I always love this question.
Oh,
People are
yeah.
gaslighted in
Someone
every, people are gaslighted in every
God.
film. It just constantly happens. One character convinces his wife she's crazy and paranoid for thinking he's cheating on her, but he is actually cheating on her.
Damn.
I love that.
That's true.
A character is stalked by the government. 8 yeses, 3 nos for is someone stalked. Does someone use drugs?
Oh yeah.
A few, yeah.
What about this?
Okay, wait. Does someone abuse alcohol? What do you guys think the answer to that one is?
No. I don't think people abuse alcohol. They abuse drugs though.
Okay, and that
You never see anybody like super plastered.
you don't see anybody
Yeah.
abuse it, but they're drinking the entire time, and
Right.
they're all drinking so much.
Yeah.
I was gonna say yes. There's 12 no's and 1 yes to that.
I think we all know. Like,
The
what
word abuse is different, I know, but like
Right,
still,
right.
that was.
I think abusive has like an over excess. Like
Yeah.
we're all getting wasted.
Mhm.
It also says here during the recording of the film's narration, the guy who plays Henry, the main character,
Yeah.
Ray Liotta, made the sound man sit directly across from him while he was recording it in the studio, so that way he could feel like he was actually telling the story to someone.
Wow.
It made it feel a little more realistic.
That's funny.
Wait, run that last part by me again.
The guy who played Henry, Ray
Yeah.
Liotta, it was saying that during the film's narration like section where like they
Mhm.
dubbed all the
Yeah, yeah,
narration
yeah.
post, he made the sound man. He made like the recording guy sit directly across from him whenever he was recording it, so it made it feel like he was actually telling the story to someone
Alright,
in
cool.
particular.
That's what I
So-
missed. I missed part of the last part. I was like, wait, I got that part. Yeah. Also, who breaks a bone? 14 yeses,
wow.
0 nos. Who breaks a bone? Somebody breaks a bone in the movie?
They probably broke Bats' bones. After they fucking stomped his shit in on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
I guess that's everyone's because, like, yeah, I don't really know.
More than a few fractured ribs there, methinks.
Right. Is there finger/toe mutilation? Toe is shot. Yes, 14.
Yep.
No, 2. So
I love that that's just a subcategory.
yep. Does someone ever struggle to breathe? Yes.
What? Like the most...
Is there
minute stuff.
This is an interesting one. Is there excessive gore? I would by no means call it excessive, but there
No.
was blood, and it has 4 yeses and 1 no. So
Wow.
there's.
You see a guy get stabbed in the back of the head.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You see a lot of blood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are any
Let's say
teeth
gore.
damaged? 2 yeses, 8 nos.
Yeah.
I don't really remember any teeth being damaged here.
A few chompers are lost.
A few chompers.
I mean that you can assume.
Good news though, the dog doesn't die.
Yeah.
The guy threatens to eat a dog though.
Right. All animals are safe.
No animals were harmed, as far as I know, in the making of this program.
Right. Humanimals though.
Honestly, doesthedogdie.com, at the beginning of every movie, if you look it up, it's just so funny. Because you're like, wait.
Here we
A
go.
cat dies? Or like,
Bruh.
do we watch a movie that you think is like a comedy movie, and then there's like 27 yeses and 0 nos, a dog dies, and you're like, what happens in this movie? There's a few we've done the podcast with that one where I'm like, it says here that someone's fingers are ripped off, but we're watching a comedy movie, I thought.
Right.
It's so good. Oh,
Pain
man.
is funny.
The guy Tommy,
Yeah.
who's played by Joe Pesci.
Mhm.
The character's name is Tommy DeVito, and he was based off of a real life gangster called Tommy. I guess I'm gonna say his real name. His name was Thomas DeSimone, or I guess DeSimone. I don't know. But his the name he went by was Two Gun Tommy.
Oh wow.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Tommy Two Guns. That's what he always
Yeah.
called in the very beginning.
Tommy Two Guns.
Yeah.
And
Jeez.
then he's got his revolver and he got a big ass.
Yeah. I remember seeing something that was funny. It was like, yeah, they call me Tommy Two Guns. It's a clever ruse to hide my third gun.
And then he says, it says, renowned for his violent temper, according to,
So far, we're on point.
and according to the real Henry Hill, Pesci's portrayal was 90 to 99% accurate.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think Pesci did a great job.
He
to be
says
honest.
with two notable exceptions. Firstly, DeSimone was a big, burly enforcer standing at 6 feet.
So
2
being
inches.
short, he couldn't solve that one.
Yeah, and weighing about 15 stone, which I guess I don't know how much that
15
is.
stone.
250
Right.
pounds or something.
About 15 stone.
How much
Oi.
do you weigh? I
You got
weigh
a
about-
license for all that stuff.
I weigh
This
about
is-
15 of them rocks over there.
It says, secondly, the film states that Tommy was shot in the face, so his mother couldn't give him an open casket funeral.
Classic.
But the real DeSimone's remains were never recovered, actually.
Okay, so the only two exceptions are things that like couldn't
Yeah,
really get
right,
right.
right,
Like
right.
That's what he said, 90 to 99%
Yeah.
accurate. So,
that's what it feels like. He feels like a real loose, like Pesci does a great job. He feels like a real loose
Joe
cannon
Pesci
mafia
is one of my
man.
favorite actors.
Really a mafia man. Really carries the role pretty well. So I thought,
one of the funniest dudes I know.
yeah. I'm trying to think who's everyone's favorite character. Tommy Two Guns is cool, but I don't think he's my favorite character.
Oh man.
Henry, I think, was really well done. But you know what? We all know who it really. It was Paulie. Paulie's the best
Yeah.
character in this show, man.
oh, yeah.
He did you see how thin he cut that garlic?
How could you not?
How could you not love a man with that much dedication to his garlic cutting? Good old
crazy.
Paulie. I was really sad to see him being turned in at the end.
Oh god. Yeah.
It was, the last bit of the movie got me so nervous. Because like, he got out of jail, and I was like, bro, this is about to go down so scary.
But then the drugs. The drugs got
I know.
him.
But that's the thing is the drugs got him, but then he like went to jail and then got clean. So it's like, okay, I was kind of I was looking at like, oh, it's like he's on the up and up, like he's doing better.
Right.
And then he went to go see his
It's
buddy.
based on a true story. It's never that easy.
You're right.
Yeah.
But I mean, he went to go see his buddy, Jimmy.
Me 2 times.
And then I was like, man, because then we at that point in time we know that he was like kind of trying to.
That Jimmy's trying to kill him, and
You're
so
gonna get whacked.
I thought that was a really good scene though, because it does feel like. It feels like this, like battle of wills, where like he even says like he doesn't eat anything, he's fidgeting, so they're like talking to each other, trying to feel each other out. So the conversation has this really nice, like it seems like a normal conversation in a movie, but because you know what's going on, if you look just underneath the surface, you can see that they're both like almost like not telling her, and they're like trying to figure it out. And then of course he's like, he asked me to carry him out a hit, and I knew that if I went there, I'd be the one getting whacked. So he like goes and turns everybody in. Yeah. I thought it was such a good scene between the two of them where they're talking like old times, but like, you know, this is totally different. Right. I thought that was a really good scene.
You want to know something crazy?
Tell me two guns.
The guy who played Paulie, like the hardest guy in the film.
Paulie.
Like the guy who was like the guy.
Yeah.
Paulie.
It says he nearly quit before filming, as he thought that he would ruin it, the whole film, because he considered himself a total pussycat or a softie for this role, like or he was too much of a softie for this role.
That's like kind of a part of his character, is that he's like the dad who like runs all this and is like sort of dad like, and he's still tough, but he's like not the guy to get his hands dirty. Like
right.
I really like the scene where he gives him the money and he's like, and now I got to turn my back on you. And I was like, oh no,
that hurt.
That was an honest scene right there.
That hurt hard. Yeah. Because like there's a handful of times where he like the first time everyone got out of jail, he like pulls him aside and he's like, no funny business. I don't want to. You hear me? You listen to me?
Also,
like,
no, I'm
not.
The face slaps.
Yeah. He's like,
I like how they upped in intensity where it used to be like, haha, like a joke, but then one time he's like,
he's like, look at me.
Yeah, that was one face slap that was like, oh, that's a real one. That was not. That wasn't the ah face slap. That was a no. Listen to me, you little bitch.
Yeah. There's a couple times they play around, but
that had some extra sense.
But that one time, he was sitting there and he already like grabbed him on his collar and he gave him one good whoosh, and I think even Ray, like the guy who plays Henry, was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I thought it was a good face slap. I liked it.
He was like, damn, I got hit.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think he was a great cast for that.
I think he worked really well, and I liked his character. But now that I kind of know how it goes, I want to watch the beginning again somehow, because like now I know what the characters are going to become. So I want to, and for some reason, like I want to see it again and be like, oh, a young Paul. Like I feel like I know the characters so well that I want to see their younger lives again, which is obviously a good sign.
Right. Look at you, you little bastard! I ought to pinch your cheeks.
I was like that. Getting pinched is getting arrested.
Where's your bonnet? Get back to your fucking crib.
Oh man.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Joe on this one.
Joe Pesci.
Yeah,
he was like a nightmare of a character.
He's my favorite.
He was the best.
He's in.
He was probably the most well done. Yeah. I think Paulie's my favorite, but he was probably the most well done.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Paulie takes my favorite character card.
I liked Robert De Niro's character Jimmy a lot.
Mm-hmm. I thought Jimmy was pretty solid.
Even towards the end of the movie, where like I thought that it was kind of like, man, he's really playing a different side here. It was like they all felt alone at the end, and it was like, man, you just got to do what you got to do.
Yeah,
and it felt like there was so much betrayal and so much heartache. And I don't know, it felt so real whenever Tommy gets killed and like everyone finds out about it. It's like, man, it felt so real. But you're not wrong. A close second for me is Paulie, especially during that scene where he gives him like, $2,300 cash, and is like, "Now I got to write you off," and it's like, oh man, that's hard, because that guy was like a dad to him when like his dad was not there, and it's like, man, that's hard.
Yeah.
Here's a little fun fact. It says when Janice, the babysitter, pulls out the airline ticket. You found out this one.
Well, I was wondering why it was censored.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was like, why did they censor, of all the things to censor, is this like a nudie magazine? And then it was like, no, it's just an airline ticket. And I found out why.
It says that, there is black bar covering it because producers couldn't get permission to use the American Airlines logo. The company didn't want to be affiliated with the depiction of drug trafficking, which makes sense. I mean, I don't want to be associated with that.
Yeah.
Right. I still thought it was nuts that they like had already, I guess, filmed that part though, so they just had to black bar it instead of choosing a different ticket or making an airline up.
Right.
The guy who plays the maid man, Bats, he was actually claustrophobic and had to like really get over his phobia to be locked in the trunk. He was like, it was not hard. I mean, it was not easy, but I did it. Yeah.
Not a fan of that.
when Jimmy makes the phone call about Tommy being made, you can see
solid scene.
You can spot the reflection of the camera in the photo booth glass. Apparently,
Oh no.
Yeah,
Good thing I didn't notice.
that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't. Oh wow, that's. I didn't notice it because it was just a fire scene.
Oh yeah,
Like, I was just like, oh man.
too enraptured.
I like the hitting of the phone. That's old school. I like that. But also I like how it's off camera too. Like he puts all this effort into knocking the phone booth over as a whole, and you don't even see it. You just hear it fall over. Like he finishes knocking it over, and it's just
Yeah, it's
whatever.
just gone now.
I was like,
Falls out of frame.
I was like, yeah. The chimp part of me was like, I want to see shit break. Why are you doing this off camera? Like,
Where's your hammer?
like yeah.
Grab a blunt object, break the glass.
Yes.
You want to hear something?
Disrespect your surroundings.
It says Al Pacino was considered for the role of Jimmy Conway,
Jimmy Two Guns Conway.
but then turned it down due to fear of being typecast. Ironically, later that same year, he ended up playing a gangster, Big Boy Capri, in Warren Beatty's Dick Tracy.
Dick Tracy.
Oh wow.
And it says he admits regretting the decision.
Yeah.
Because he already got
crazy.
typecast anyway. Oh man.
Way to go, Al.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh, this is so scary.
What?
It says filming the scene in which his character Spider is killed by Tommy. The actor cut his hand on a broken glass and had to be rushed to the hospital. Doctors saw what appeared to be gunshot wounds on his chest and tried to treat it.
They thought you got put into that. Here's the thing. I know it's insurance things,
Right.
but if they actually like put him in a trauma, that's $20,000.
That's
if they saw
crazy.
those gunshots, they were like, "Oh God, started cutting his shirt off in a trauma room." Boom, $20,000 bill. Someone's paying
but
that.
this is back in 1990.
Still,
or
say
80s.
I mean, $20,000, but in '80s money, so $20.
Yeah. It says when the actor told them it was just makeup, and what was
actually was my hand.
He said what was really wrong. They sent him back to the ER queue, and he had to wait. He had to wait for he had to wait for 3 hours, and then the director loved this anecdote and told the actor that one day he'd been telling this story on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno. A decade later, the prediction came true.
That's so funny.
So.
That's definitely hospital
Amazing.
stuff right there for you. They think that you're worse than you are, so you skip the line. They realize it's fake, and they put you back at the back of the line.
Jeez.
Right.
3 hours. I hope
There's a lot of fun facts here I never even realized. Like Robert De Niro frequently takes drags of cigarettes, but never actually exhales any smoke.
He straight eats
He
those
just
Yeah.
consumes the smoke.
It's amazing.
Wow, that's crazy.
I like that ER thing's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's that'll happen at your local hospital, guys.
Oh,
that will
yeah.
happen at your local hospital. Stop the bleeding yourself before you may as well. Like,
Yeah.
or if you want to make them really concerned about it, put a tourniquet on it. A doctor has to see you to see if they could take the tourniquet off. That's your secret of the day. As a bystander, even if the bleeding's nothing, if you think it needs to, just put a tourniquet. It's fine. I didn't say that because it won't need a tourniquet, I'm sure. But the funny thing is, they immediately become a trauma patient.
Yeah.
Your insurance will hate you, but whatever.
You want to jump yourself up in the queue, just...
Oh, yeah. At the very least, what's going to happen is you'll jump to the top. They'll realize it's not that bad. Take the tourniquet off and then put you in the back of the queue again, which will be funny.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It says that
Make sure it's on all the way, though. It's so funny when you see a tourniquet on, the wound's still bleeding.
I want to walk in there one day with a tourniquet on my arm, and it's going to be... My arm's going to be fine. I'm just going to... Yeah, I broke my leg.
Why is there a tourniquet on your arm? Yeah, I don't know. I didn't put it there. I don't know who put that there.
Yeah.
The best part, I still love it. It's funny whenever people put a tourniquet on and it's still bleeding. Like you didn't, you
Right.
clearly didn't do something right.
Yeah,
like you're supposed to stop all of that from happening. That's
It says that the film was shot in 72 days between May 3rd.
that seems really short for how
It
insane and
is,
long
yeah.
this. Most films don't they take like forever to film?
Usually.
Not necessarily. I mean, not forever, but like at least 4 to 6 months.
Yeah, more than that. I mean,
May,
for how much
June,
happened?
July, August. This is about 4
Hyperbole.
months. It depends on what kind of budget we're talking about. We're talking about big budget stuff. A lot of times they try and crank them out pretty quickly. So you don't want to be shooting a movie for over 6 months, to be honest.
I
I mean, unless we're doing something like Lord of the Rings, where we're on location out in like New Zealand.
Maybe I'm thinking of those because I was like,
Right,
still 72
right.
days is a little over 2 months. Like that's.
But even then, I'm pretty sure I don't think that production for Lord of the Rings lasted longer than a year or so.
Still, I'm just.
Yeah.
I was just
It was crazy though. But but then so between May 3rd and August 9th of 1989. That's crazy.
Quite the schedule.
Speed is key.
Big speed.
Wow. What a crazy time.
Yeah.
What a great movie, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I've
been holding on to this one.
This is another one of those movies that is hard to really talk about. You have to experience it. You have to experience it, and it really is the progression of someone's life. And you get to see the highs and the lows, and you get to see some relationships form, some family bonding and trauma along the way.
Yeah.
You get to see the birth of a family and the crumbling down of all that.
Subsequent destruction.
Exactly. And of course, and the movie does such a great job as after we get over that second act hump and we're really getting into the trenches of that last third act, and he's on coke and he's kind of going crazy, his dialogue speeds up
Watching
and
out
he's
for helicopters.
Yeah, and he's kind of paranoid and just feels so frantic, like you'd imagine the inside of his mind is right then and
the
there.
narration gets a little loopy.
But then even Joe Pesci's character of Tommy, his quick tumble down of just killing all of his family members,
Sent
basically
into madness. And
then of course the very next thing of Henry doing the same thing of just falling into this spiral of just trying to sell more drugs to get by and doing some dumb jobs, and it feels so like that character type of you get out, you get clean, and you get right back into it again, and you just try to make money, you try and get stuff to make.
Since
by.
he was 13, he was saying he didn't want a real job. I don't need to work. It's boring. So
Right.
he doesn't know anything. He's never worked a job.
I know.
Even at the end of the movie, he even says his social's been fake. Everything apart from if it weren't for his birth certificate, you wouldn't know I was a real person.
Right.
It's everything he's had has been faked up to this point. So it's not like he can start a normal life.
Right.
That's part of the. That's I say the bad part. It's the only bad part. But that's the bad part about being a 21-year-old crime lord, I guess, is that you can't do anything else.
And it's also just so wild that you could have done that.
Mm-hmm.
You would have had a birth certificate, and you would have had some other
still-
form of paperwork.
Still certain people still do that. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know personally how to do that.
Well, so the
of course.
have you heard of the? Well, I mean, yeah, of course not. I don't either know how to do it, but you've heard of the the court cases where people for again high crime areas they're trying to figure out who did what in big court cases,
Yeah.
and they can't figure out who's who because everyone has so many nicknames that nobody knows their real name.
Wow.
They couldn't figure out who anybody is because nobody knows what their birth certificate is, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, they call me Little Johnny." Oh, I was called John before. Then their name was not Never John, right?
Yeah,
and so it's things like that where I guess once you're so heavily affiliated with crime, your birth certificate, you can't read the with that one, but the rest of it, yeah, you can definitely fake the rest. It's insane, but it's still possible. I'm sure it was easier back then. I'm sure it was so much easier back then.
For sure.
Well, anyways, I liked the movie, and it was great, and it was it was a roller coaster of emotions as well as a quick descent into, man, this is some bad decisions, and you just keep making the bad decisions,
Dummy.
because you feel like it's the only thing you know, and that's understandable. You guys want to add anything else to this episode before we wrap it up?
They call me Johnny Two Guns.
I'm very eepy.
Be careful of my third bigger gun.
You're very, excuse me, you're very eepy?
Eepy.
EBBB.
They call me eepy.
Yeah.
MEB.
Eepy Sag Face.
We're no longer making any sense. So
No, yeah, we're just rambling on.
That's the cue. In the episode.
Anyways,
And
for any of those who are looking to reach out to us, we have a Linktree/Ian Wolf, where you can find all of our links on all the social media
there's
stuff.
another podcast too.
Yeah, we also have another little episode that's coming out. Either it came out already or
It's out already.
it's out already of me and you
That was the one that's already out.
Is it already out, or is that the next
I thought
one?
episode 2
yeah,
was
I
already
saw it.
out.
Okay, so hey.
It's on Spooky.
So I guess the About Nothing.
That means in the coming
Podcast.
weeks we need to be preparing to film the
You're
next. I thought we were gonna do it
right.
this weekend anyway, which is the plan. But
It is
Yeah.
your off week.
Yeah.
Is
No, I know. Yeah.
Your off weekend is the weekend we record because it posts every other
Yeah.
weekend,
It's gonna
every other
post-
Monday
it's gonna
because
post there.
Yeah, right. On the-
Be ready for
Anyways.
another episode anyway.
Let me stop talking
About
shop.
Nothing podcast.
Let me stop talking shop for a second and say that About Nothing is going to drop every other Monday, and you can listen to Ethan and I ramble about.
That was our last episode, yeah.
Reminiscing about our past. It was kind of fun, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Hell fun.
It's on the Aftermath
wherever you listen to
feed.
your podcasts.
If it's on exactly, if you go to any of the major podcasting platforms and type in the Aftermath, you'll get not one but 2 shows. You'll get every single Aftermath episode as well as every single
my God.
About Nothing podcast.
And you're not paying for it?
And
This
you're
is a
not.
ripoff.
No, you're not. You're not paying for it.
God, this is
we do
insane.
this shit for free.
What? I'm joking.
Wait, we're not getting paid?
Wait, you guys are getting paid?
Anyways, as I was saying, or you can also just drive on a long dirt road and then wait until your trunk starts making noise, open it up, and then the podcast will most
be
certainly
there.
be in the trunk.
Don't forget to bring the
another way.
357 though, because if that's
And the
not the
shovel.
podcast,
The
then
most
you need to shoot
important
whatever
part.
comes out.
The most important part's the shovel. I mean, obviously, yeah, you can wrestle it around, and
It's either going to be
stop
us
it,
or a
but-
soon-to-be
Yeah,
cadaver.
if you're really good at jujitsu, you don't need to shovel that much, but you should probably bring
Right.
one anyway.
if you take a crowbar and you just beat the shit out of a car, I heard that the podcast will
Stumble
play.
out of the
Stumble out
only
of it.
while you're swinging though, so it's really cut off. I wouldn't recommend that one. But if you use a wingsuit and jump off a cliff
Yeah.
in Nepal,
right.
then while the
specifically.
wind will carry the podcast on your ears while you're flying.
Wow.
But the problem is you have to climb back up the mountain to fall again because you're not going to fall for a full hour. So.
But it remembers your place, though.
Yeah, luckily you don't have to restart.
I
this.
heard about that. I never actually experienced it for myself.
The wind, it carries the cast.
Carries the cast. Well, anyways,
You can't tell it which one you want though. So if if you want About Nothing, you get
It's just the
Aftermath.
most
You're just
recent,
it's
yeah.
the wind chooses. It's whatever the wind wants to listen
Well, it's all
to.
about schedule. You got to go on either every other Monday or every Friday.
On the posting day only.
On the
you have to
posting
jump
day
off the
only.
mountain, and don't forget the wingsuit because otherwise you just there's no podcast. You just die.
Well, Anyways,
All right.
until next time, thank you so much for listening.
See you.
Bye-bye.